Hello, my name is Abraham. Hello, my name is Abraham Song. I am a missionary kid. My parents are missionaries in Russia. Um, I grew up there my whole life, and then I came here for my undergraduate degree in 2007, and I graduated in 2011. So now I'm an alumni. So um, Dr. Sam asked me to give two presentations, one this week and one next week. I'm very humbled to hear that because I don't have that much to say actually. I'm still in the transition stage, trying to make a breakthrough. But I'm grateful. I've benefited a lot from Deep Roots in Christ, and so I realize that today I am actually younger than most of the people in the crowd. So I don't know how much I can, if it's relevant, but I think I have something to share to the young people, young men, sisters and brothers, because after graduation I had ups and downs and some struggles in my way, and I have learned a few things, and I thought it would be good to share so that maybe you will know that we are all in the same journey, and we all have similar struggles, and the solution is not very different from each one of us, even though we're very, very different. It's always in God. And so I guess I'll make it brief. I'll just share with you what I did for the past 2 years after graduation, and then the lessons that I learned from this 2 year 2 years of 2 year period. After graduation, I was very desperate because I graduated from a very prestigious business school. Business school is right now harder to get into than engineering school, which is very odd because your odds of getting a job is much higher if you graduate from engineering school. But I also thought I was being very practical by going to business school, and I did learn a few things, administrative things. But I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do after graduation. The question was, should I go work or should I go pursue graduate school? Another question was, should I stay in the US or should I go to Korea or somewhere abroad? And as a young man, I had a lot of energy, but not so much of wisdom. So these questions were very difficult for me to answer because I didn't really know on what basis I should make these decisions. So practically speaking, by the time of graduation, I had one possible job in Chicago and an offer in Korea. At that time, I was a little bit tired of Urbana-Champaign. I think I was fatigued after 4 years of college, and so I decided to go to Korea because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and as far as I knew, that was the only place I could just quietly think about some things. Because even though I lived in Russia my whole life, I always visited there as a tourist visa, on a tourist visa. So I couldn't go to Russia. I couldn't stay in the U.S. unless I got a job because I'm an international student. And so I went to Korea, medical company. I started to work there, but I started to pray very earnestly, like never before. I attended the 5:30 a.m. prayer meetings during the summer because I was desperate, because I didn't know what to do. And unfortunately, God didn't give me a sign like a light or a banner that was with neon lights or something like that. There was nothing like that, and that made me even more desperate, and more questions came up. But I guess an answer came in a very unexpected way. I got a mailbox, a military draft letter. I thought I was exempt from the Army, but apparently I wasn't. And when I went to the Ministry of Defense and I talked to the person there, she told me that I do apply to the rule, but I don't quite fit the rule because I'm from Russia. There were a few cases like Cambodia, I think, or Vietnam and Russia. These people, even though they lived their whole life abroad, doesn't matter. You have to go serve in the military. So at that point, I became even more desperate because I don't even have anything to do now. I don't have options. I have to go to the military. So I decided to go to military. I was on a track to apply for the lieutenant job. But at that time, I guess my parents had more faith, or they were more persistent. So they found out that as a Korean that grew up abroad my whole life, entire life basically, I have a chance not to go to the army if I go abroad. And so I had to make a decision again. Do I stay and serve in the military and be a proud Korean, or be less proud Korean, but go on with my life, which I'm not fully Korean because I never lived there. So I prayed and I decided that I'll live abroad. That was a big decision. I sometimes regretted it, but in the whole time I was praying to God. I dedicate my life to you. I don't find anything more meaningful than serving you. I don't know what exactly I should do, but I would like to serve you. I would like to participate in your work. And so I applied to PhD because, I thought that's a way for personal development, but also a way to witness if I were to become a professor. I applied to 7 schools in business, organizational behavior, and I got rejected from all of them. In that period, while waiting for the decision, I came actually to the U.S. by the generous invitation of Dr. Sam and Deeper Roots in Christ, and I did the same thing I did this time, but I guess my odds were very low actually. It's very tough to get into business PhD right now. As I said, everyone is flocking into business, and I was very naive. I wasn't ready. But that was a very humbling moment, because I felt very inadequate. I was very ashamed. I demanded from my parents like a prodigal son. I want to go study in the U.S. Initially, they wanted me to go to Korea, but I insisted that I want to make a difference in the world, make a dent. But it seemed like my decisions were failures, really. They were not adding up to anything. So I was dismayed. I went back to Russia. I was in Russia when I found out, and I continued praying even in Moscow because I seriously didn't know what I had to do. At that time, I ran into one poster. It was looking for students, international students. A Russian university was looking for international students for an MA program with the full scholarship and fellowship thing for non-USSR countries. And the whole course was administered in English, and I applied to East Asian Studies because I was humbled, and I thought that's a way to continue my education, and I was very happy. I was happy, I sighed, I grinned, and I was like, okay, so God, you had something better in store for me. And I was 100% sure that I'll make it. I was rejected from there as well. I should have made it. The faculty professor said that I made it, but the whole admissions committee that was interviewing me, they got fired for some reason. So by that point, I'm done. Like, I can't handle this anymore. As a tourist, I'm on a tourist visa in Russia as well. So my visa expires, I go to Ukraine, and I meet a friend called Joseph Kim, and he is a missionary kid like me, and he is studying in Cyprus. I never wanted to go to Cyprus, but that was my last resort, and I applied. In a couple days, I'm admitted. So by that point, I prayed with my parents, with my church people. So I decided, okay, well, this is the door that opened. The door opened. All the other doors, they shut. So I decided to go to Cyprus. This time, it was not because of any personal ambitions, you know. I wasn't expecting much from this education. But I decided to go there, whatever it means, to go as a missionary. Because, okay, I've learned something, and I've accepted Jesus. Obviously, I'm inadequate in many ways, but perhaps I can do something there for God. So my life in Cyprus, that will be covered in next week. But I would like to share with you just 2 verses that throughout this process I learned and really gave me encouragement. So if you can, so this is the first verse that gave me sort of encouragement. Be happy, young man, while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see. But know that for all these things, God will bring you to judgment. I'm a young man, and I realized I was being anxious. I was being scared. I was in fear. I was in this shame. But I realized, you know, there's time to buy and time to lose, especially when I'm in the 20s. This is the time when I build my foundation. It's okay to be rejected, but this is the time to build my firm foundation on the rock of Jesus. And really, don't be afraid of anything, but keep trying. And hopefully, when the time comes, when I'm ready, I'm sure that God will open the right doors. So yeah, I realized I should be joyful instead of being anxious. And on the basis of Scripture, I should really dare to do many things. Okay, last verse. When I visited the U.S. last year, Dr. Sam asked me to memorize Titus, and this verse really stood out to me. You know, I'm a young man. There's several young men here, and in Titus, there's many requirements for elder people and other people, but for young men, it repeats this over and over again. You know, self-control. I think that's very important because, as I said before, young men have a lot of energy but little wisdom. So we want to do many things on our own, but this is the time really to learn self-control, learn discipline, and build our foundation on the rock of Jesus. So on that, I would like to leave you, and next week I'll talk about the great things that God did in Cyprus. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.